Weekly Roundup. I'm your host, Jake Friel. We got a jam-packed show for you today. Going to be talking about the worst contracts in sports history. Doesn't have to be just Philly sports related. It can be any sport in history and any awful contract in sports history. We'll also be talking about when we think when sports will come back, whether it comes back in a couple months, next month, whenever. Just give us your opinion when you think sports will come back. And also, who should the Eagles draft at the tail end of the show? As always, myself, Steve Reichel, Nicholas Jules, Tom Arnone. We are brought to you by our doc, Make 'em Yours, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC, Burlington, Cherry Hill, Princeton locations. Find them on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. We are also, our poll question is brought to you by Ambuck Services, AMBUCK services.com. Call Michael Ambrose, tell him A2D sent you 20% off gutters, anything you need, outside work you need around your house, he's got you covered. Ambuckservices.com. Leading up to the poll question, worst contracts in sports history. Bobby Bonilla is the worst contract in sports history. Agree or disagree?
You can go first, Jules.
I'm going to go, even though that is a terrible contract, I'm going to go disagree. I'm going to take Rick DiPietro from the New York Islanders. I listen to him a lot up here in the New York area because he's on the dial, ESPN radio. So essentially, he's collecting two checks because the one, other than his dime job right now, he's getting paid $1.5 million annually through 2029. Mm-hmm. And that started in 2013 when he got released by the Islanders. I mean, the guy played in less than 10 games since he signed his $60 million deal in 2006. That was like his second deal after his rookie contract. Didn't really show anything leading up to deserving that contract because he was the number one pick in 2000. You know, he had a lot of injuries, but to give a guy $60 million for 15 years. So essentially, you're going to be 40. You're going to be 40 years old, still being a top goaltender in the NHL. I mean, no, you can't really foresee that. So, $1.5 million a year through 2029. Mm-hmm. I mean, all the best to him. I mean, you know, I wish I could do that. You know.
Yeah. I think with myself, I'm going to have to disagree. I'm going to kind of just bounce off where Nick started. Mine also is Rick DiPietro. New York Islanders, 15 years, as Nick touched on earlier, $67.5 million until 2029. And obviously, Bobby from the Mets is another bad one. But again, just think about it. You get paid, you get a huge contract. You're not even playing anymore, and you just collect $1.5 million annually. Yeah. How nice is that?
Yeah.
Like, we'd all love to have that.
Yeah, it's like the worst contracts for teams, but the best contracts for players.
Mm-hmm.
You can go like a back and forth with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'll disagree just because there's so many bad ones out there.
So many.
And man, I mean, I have a lot to choose from. You know, I know people were talking about Albert Pujols being a bad deal. You know, I was sort of between like Wiggins, Wall, and it was my other guy. Wiggins, Wall, and Chris Davis.
Okay.
All right, they were sort of where I'm like in between right now on terrible deals. Now, Wiggins, young, but again, doesn't defend, isn't a great shooter, doesn't pass the ball well. He can score at times, but getting paid a lot of money and signed a big time deal. So, you know, that obviously a bad one. When you talk about Chris Davis, you know, you're talking about a guy who got paid, what did he get? He got 7 for 161 through 2022. Right? A guy who hit a ton of home runs through 2012, 2015, and has stunk ever since. Flat out stunk, so stole money. And the last one I was sort of stuck on was the John Wall deal, 4 years, 169 through 2023 for a guy who's never on the court ever.
That's been important 2 years.
Yeah, so when I'm thinking about which one I really want to go with, I'm going to go with John Wall.
Yeah.
That's not on the court. And when he was, I don't know how good he really was. He was okay.
Yeah.
He could push in transition. He wasn't a good shooter. So, I mean, he had a big time flaws in his game, but a guy just wasn't on the court. So, 4 years, 169 through 2023. When's John Wall ever going to be on the court again? I mean, that's a terrible deal. Great deal for the player. Terrible deal. I'm going to go with John Wall. I'm going to go a little opposite of the
Off the wall.
Yeah, in the baseball, hockey. We'll go off the wall. Let's go to basketball bad deals. John Wall. That's my one.
Okay. Steve, who you got? If he's still alive down there.
Stevie.
First.
Well, I'll give you another one we could talk about. Actually, I'm watching this game right now from the 08 NBA Finals. About Phil Jackson, the New York Knicks, giving 5 years, $60 million to ruin the team. To ruin the team. Okay,
Right.
yeah, he drafted Porzingis when Porzingis came out and said, he don't want to play for the Knicks, but he still took him. Turned out to be, he's a good player. But then you draft Frank Ntilikina to fit his triangle offense. The dude can't play at all.
Triangle offense.
Dude can't play a lick. 5 years, $60 million, and he was only there for 3 years.
Yeah,
didn't make no playoffs. Was the worst team in basketball during that time. Another terrible deal.
That's a great one.
Just because of his name, Phil Jackson. I mean, didn't prove anything as a GM. I mean, arguably the best basketball player to ever live is a terrible GM owner, Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
But I mean, he don't really give out bad contracts.
No. Let's go to the comments real quick. Chandler Otis says Chandler Parsons got to be in the discussion. Yeah, that's one.
Chandler Parsons. Oof.
That's a good one.
Bad deal.
D Block also says on YouTube, Eagles signing that bum ass cornerback from the Oakland Raiders. I'm not saying his name. Bryce Blackwell, what's up, Bryce? Jake, Tom, boys. Pete Evans, what's up, fam? What's up, Pete? Bryce Blackwell also gives his opinion that sports should be back in June. Hopefully. Yeah, I love that. Rob Brinkman also says Albert Pujols is the worst.
Was Albert Pujols like that the first player to what was his initial deal? Was it like $300 million?
I had it in front of me.
75, something like that. It was I think he was like the first player to really have that big,
huge deal.
Big number. That big,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely one. Bryce Blackwell also says Eagles got to go get Ruggs or Jefferson. I just don't see how the Eagles have the ammunition to trade up and get Ruggs. I mean, if they do, I'll be happy. But just knowing how Howie Roseman covets his picks so much and his assets so much, I just don't. I just see a standing pat or either trading back. That's how I see it. But
yeah, 10 years, 240 through 2021 for Pujols.
240.
Yep, 10 years.
Shit. Till when?
Through 2021.
Oh, okay. At least you're still on the team. Greg Malakovic says, "What's up, boys? What's up, Greg?" The Petro is one for this question. Anthony Adis also says Albert Hainsworth was bad. Yeah, that was a bad one. How much was his? Wish I had this in front of me. Albert Hainsworth. I'm trying to think.
Am I here now or what?
Yeah, I hear you.
You're here.
Jesus.
All right, Steve.
Internet.
So give us your worst contract. What do you think was the worst contract in sports?
I mean, it's really a toss-up between me. You have to weigh the options of how bad that Albert Hainsworth contract was because he was given a lot of money and really didn't perform. And, as we were coming on, I also mentioned, the Jay Cutler one. Got a lot of money to leave Denver to go to the Chicago and highly underperformed, and they're still looking for a quarterback. Trubisky didn't work. Now they brought Foles in to try to be the leader of that team. So, I mean, that contract's really bad. I think it was in 14. It was almost a 200 or almost $130 million contract he got, and 50 something of it was guaranteed. So yeah, that's pretty big.
Yeah, and they still haven't figured out that answer quarterback yet.
Nope.
And what? Oh man.
I'll throw another one out there. Speaking of quarterbacks, how about Jamarcus Russell?
Yeah.
Jamarcus Russell, 6 years, $61 million. That was, of course, because he was number one pick, and that was still when they were giving out big time money for the first overall pick. But $61 million, the guy's played 3 seasons. All right, combined, I think it was like 27 games in 3 years, and he was out of the league. I mean, you're talking about a guy that was literally handed tapes of film to watch. And then goes back and tells the coaches that he watched film on blitz packages when there was no fucking film on the tape.
Yeah, it was a blank tape. He's like, "Oh yeah, there's a blitz package." They're like, "Oh my god, he's not watching tape."
Eric Tippin Russell, man, you might take the cake for that one.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad one. Namdi's another one. Namdi, you definitely have to put in the conversation.
No, absolutely.
We can go all Eagles corners.
What about Alex Rodriguez? What about Alex Rodriguez? It was like 275 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that on a lot of lists as being like their number one.
I don't know about number one. It's mentionable.
Yeah, I just have trouble with it because he won a World Series. Like I have trouble with being like it's a bad deal. Like
it's a grossly overpay. It's a gross overpay.
You overpaid for greatness. You know, same thing with the Angels did. You know, the Angels paid for the body of work that was like Sweep said, 11 years getting paid peanuts. You know, they paid for those 11 years essentially. You know what I mean? Now, like the Angels and this is one of my guys we talked about before the show. You know, Josh Hamilton's a name. That's a terrible deal. You know, the Angels have a list of them. I know Sweep said C.J. Wilson. You know, a list of bad deals. So Pujols to me is like a bad deal because he's not going to, obviously the production from what he was isn't going to be there. Same with like I brought Miguel Cabrera. Bad deal, but you're paying for what the guy was, so you have to overpay. So you're going to get hit at a certain point of that deal where you're screwed in a way. I look at Pujols; they're not paying him till 2028. It's not deferred money. Too. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's not deferred money. Cabrera, not deferred money. Like Scherzer's going to be a bad deal, even though they won a World Series. But when that deferred money starts hitting 5-6 years from now, then it becomes a bad deal. But in the moment, it's a good deal. So it's like you got to weigh the good, the up and down with it. Like, so you look at Scherzer. Well, you got a World Series there at Washington. Yeah. So is that deal ever going to be then bad though?
No, in the moment, you got to do the deal.
Yeah. Right? See, I got to give him that money, man. If I'm the Angels. You know, I know he's not going to be the same guy at the tail end of that deal. Same with the Tigers. I got to give Miguel Cabrera that money. I have to. You know, I know I'm going to get screwed again, but I'd rather be screwed in 2023 than deferred money till 2035. You know what I mean? I'd much rather be in that boat, like for Harper. Like, okay, I'm going to be paying him when he's 40, but at least I'm not paying him when he's 60.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then they also look at, and you said the Tigers, look at what they did with Prince Fielder. What do you got, like 214 after he left Milwaukee?
Like 244. I was just looking at him. I was like, yeah, you're right around there. Terrible deal. Didn't he get hurt? It wasn't the neck thing, right? Wasn't it the neck? Yeah. So, I mean, the deal, you end up getting screwed because he gets injured, you know, more so than anything else. Like, if the guy never got hurt, I think he lives up to most of that money because he could drive baseballs all day.
And an off the beat one too, like it's not like really bad in the sense of it, but when Kimbo Slice left the UFC and went to Bellator, they gave him all kinds of money. He didn't really perform, and then the unfortunate thing that happened after the Dada 5000 fight.
And you want to stick with New York teams? Stick with New York, right, for a minute. You know, Joakim Noah. It's terrible. They're paying him through 2022, 4 years, $72 million.
Marcus said that down in the comments too. Yep.
Yeah, that stretch through 2022. You're paying for a guy who ain't on the court. It must be something in the water in New York. Bonilla, DiPietro.
Didn't he just get signed, Noah? Or somebody was talking about bringing him back?
They may have. Now, what is that? Now, I always wonder what that does to the money that you're owed. You still get that, right?
You would hope.
Or is it? Or I'm in his boat and I'm making that money over a 4-year stretch, right? To me. If that money gets kicked away because I sign a deal, I ain't playing ball then.
Right.
As much as I love the game because it's common sense. I might as well say.
Yeah. The Clippers brought him in.
Okay. Marquise Mosley. You know, that was my number. That was my my number 2, I think, probably Wiggins.
Something like that, yeah.
I think Wall was my number 1 on a bad deal. Wiggins right there. Bad deal. Doesn't do anything great.
Bill Middlebrook also says Kirk Cousins 3 years for 96, but I can't say it's
not that bad
terrible.
yet.
Yeah, I can't say it's terrible. It's a lot
not
of money.
bad yet. It's not bad yet.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, but I mean they haven't been terrible, and Cousins necessarily hasn't been terrible either.
That's just the market that's going on.
Yeah,
right now.
exactly, for quarterback. So I can't really say it's a bad
No.
deal.
Just wait till we see what Prescott gets.
Yeah. Well, the little bit off the beaten path, but similar to the discussion.
When it's your time, it's your time.
The Cowboys better hope, and I'm just saying, the Cowboys better hope that Patrick Mahomes doesn't get paid before Dak does, because then it's just going to be a whole issue.
Yeah, Mahomes, you're looking at $40 million per.
Oh, easy, and it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. Levi also says Chris Davis got 164 million, and then how many bats without a hit? Yeah,
it was a couple years ago. What did he go? He had he went 0 for 60, 0 for 70, something like that.
You got over 54 stretch.
0 for 54, yeah.
Yeah, at the beginning of the season, it was like a big deal. Like, oh, Chris Davis got a hit.
Stinks. I mean, that money.
You couldn't even buy a hit with 164 million. Jesus
No.
Christ.
Jacoby Ellsbury to the Yankees. We were
That's a
talking
good
about
one.
that previously. Another bad deal. Another
was a
New
good one.
York bad deal.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like Tommy said, it must be just something in the water. I don't know what it is.
Something in the water up here in the Hudson River.
It's football season canceled, Eileen says. No. Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
Not yet. I mean, we gotta be a little concerned that all the CEOs are meeting with Big Orange, right?
Yeah, Big Orange.
What else you gonna call them?
Yeah. But yeah, I'm really curious
Greg
how that
says,
meeting's gonna go.
Chris Gratton.
Chris Gratton. That's it. Wow, that's a good one. I like it, but
Yeah, that was a bad one for us. Never delivered.
no. Byron
I mean,
Maxwell,
while we're on it,
another one.
While we're on it, like, who's your worst Philly paid contract?
I was just about to ask that, Steve.
Worst Philly contract.
I mean, we all say Namdi. Take Namdi out of it.
I think my next one would be Byron Maxwell. I think that would be my next one.
Ryan Howard.
Ryan Howard's a good one.
You hit it, because I was going to say Ryan Howard, just on the simple fact, not because of anything, what his body work beforehand. We paid him for what he did afterwards, and just we didn't get anything because the injuries started mounting up. They started finding a way to get around him, and it just never delivered on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. It's another one you paid for. You paid for previous success. It was one of them you had to do. You couldn't. You didn't have the crystal ball. You couldn't look in it and say, "Well, this dude's going to tear, his Achilles or whatever the hell he tore, and not be the same guy again."
Mm-hmm.
So, that's how I looked at it when it came to Howard. You're paying for previous success. You're overpaying for it, but at the end of the day, you got your ring out of it. So any money afterwards, to me, it is what it is. At least you're not still paying them now.
Mm-hmm.
Another bad contract to throw out there, Gilbert Arenas, sticking with the NBA.
Yep.
Horrendous contract. Guy bringing guns in the locker rooms. I mean, he was a mess.
I remember that.
If we're sticking with Philly, can we put Tobias Harris up there?
Thank you. Yep. I said it. I said it the day you put pen to paper, and I still
could.
Well, we had to. That's a contract we had to pay. It was either you made the trade for him and he was going to walk on top of Jimmy walking. We were stuck with the point Jimmy wasn't coming back. You had to pay Tobias.
Yeah, because the Sixers didn't want to look like morons. That's the only reason they brought him back, because they knew they were going to lose Jimmy and Tobias. So that's why they overpaid for Tobias, and now they're sitting in their own shit right now, included with the Al Horford contract, and that's a whole other issue.
Yeah, Anthony just said, Al Horford.
Mm-hmm. Anthony said earlier as well, Jake Arrieta.
And like Greg's talking about with Howard, like if you don't, like what I've always said, if in the moment before, if you didn't lock him up, I was done with the Phillies.
Mm-hmm.
So I made that clear numerous times. If that guy wasn't locked up and extended, I was done with him. So it's hard for me to then go back after the injuries and say, well, it's a bad deal, and start pointing fingers. No, because I was a big advocate of lock your man up. Give him his big extension that he deserves. So we want him here, and all that. It's just sadly didn't work out in the end. But to me, you still got your ring. But I do like that Tobias won, even though you were forced to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not. He's never going to be a max guy, and you can look at it like that. But that's the bet. That's the bet Alan Brand made on that one.
Right. Scotty Damon also says to the Howard point, Howard was a loyalty thing. He earned it. No, he absolutely did.
No, he definitely earned it.
He absolutely earned it.
Gavin Keller, you want to read
Oh
that
yeah.
one?
Which one? Trump said in a conference call that he believes the NFL season will start on time in September. I hope so.
I mean, look, we're already at the point with the NBA and the NHL season. It's pretty much you're going to have to figure out some way to either salvage it or whatever. Or even the NBA, I think they should try to adopt some type of NCAA tournament type of style system to kind of get the season in and out.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Just so you're left with a champion. All that, you're not left with questions of the CBA and who's a free agent, who's not. Like, you give them a chance to have a normal offseason.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of these things now where what's the NHL going to do? They're probably the only ones that hasn't really said anything about what are possible plans moving forward.
Yeah, I think out of like any sports organization, I think the NHL will be the first back. The NBA, I know. Adam Silver's kind of like a little hesitant with everything right now, but again, that's also the NBA. But I just can't see the NHL just not doing their season.
I mean, really, in reality, it'll probably be the UFC because Dana's still pushing that. Obviously up until Khabib got grounded, that they were going to make that fight happen.
Right.
So they'll probably be the first one to put on an event, maybe. But we'll see how it all plays out. Man. We're just in this state of flux right now where we're just like, what's going on?
It's crazy.
We're waiting for information.
Mm-hmm. It's nuts. And we also have, what do you call it for the wrestling fans? We have WrestleMania with no fans tonight, so I don't know how that's going to work.
That's probably the most saddest of it all because that is the spectacle for WWE fans. It's the spectacle. What you wait pretty much the entire year for. It's WrestleMania and Royal Rumble, basically.
That's how I am.
That's like the Super Bowl for entertainment.
Yeah, exactly. And when you do that, you literally just steal the heart of it because that sport doesn't stay without its fans. It doesn't.
Especially with the Gronkowski that was going to be hosting it. I mean, that probably been pretty cool with the fans and all.
Yeah. What are you gonna do now?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I don't know. I did have a point earlier. Yeah, but like I just feel like with WrestleMania, and I'm not the biggest wrestling fan guy, but like Steve said, I really watch Royal Rumble and WrestleMania every year. That's all that I watch, if I watch anything. But like WrestleMania is like such a sport where you need those fans there to kind of just build the excitement and the anticipation and everything. I mean, football, like you can use it, in other sports you can use it, but like there's already that anticipation and excitement there. The sport's already exciting as it is.
Yeah.
But my question to you guys is, if sports does come back, obviously we're in our next topic, but when do you think sports will come back?
Like all of them together?
Well, just like any sport in general. That like you can say all sports or just like one individual sport in general.
Well,
like whether it be baseball, NHL.
We talked about this on AMP on Wednesday night, and when the MLB will come back. I said middle of June, June 15th. Some other guy said Memorial Day weekend for specifically baseball.
I'm kind of with that one. It's like kind of the end of June, right before July is when everything will kind of start kind of getting its legs underneath itself. So
okay,
let's see what happens.
I do think the NBA and NHL will both start at the same time.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. I think those two are the only ones that are connected at this point.
Yeah, they're connected. They're simultaneous.
Mm-hmm. Now, when it comes to obviously theoretically when we think sports will come back, I'm thinking like probably around maybe May or early June. That's what I'm shooting for. But at the same time, we might have sports back. But you have to think, when do us, the fans, when are we going to be able to go back?
Right.
Well, I was asked this question the other night when I jumped on with Doug Stasek, This Week in Baseball.
Mhm.
And he asked me, like, when say it opens up in June and you're allowed to go, hypothetically, when do you go? Like, to me, man, I ain't patient zero in this game. Like, I can't go. I can't go for at least a month. I gotta feel out the process if I even do go. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I think that's a big question for everybody. Guys, I don't know when it's going to be back, man. I don't think this looks good for June. Baseball trying to do everything in their freaking power
To get back,
Now
yeah.
they're talking about spring training facilities, using them as games, no fans. They're trying everything in their power because they need the TV revenue. If not, they're going to get smoked by this. And all these big businesses are going to get smoked without the TV money.
Mhm.
It's huge still, all these companies, huge. They're going to do everything they can to make it happen. I just don't see how. I just don't see how they put people in these positions yet. I just don't see it. It's too widespread right now that they assume sports are going to be back in June.
Mhm.
You can flatten curves all you want. You really can. I mean, you're putting people in jeopardy. People got families,
Mhm.
right? And you want guys to go play in environments that aren't the same, man. They're not the same. I'll take baseball without fans, but let's talk about the players who aren't robots for a minute. Let's talk about these players that thrive off emotion, that thrive off the energy. Then I got to start looking at guys and say, did you hit a trash can? Because I got to start getting find ways to get fired up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think I got to go in every game thinking you're the Astros. You know what I mean? Like, it's tough to think about it from a player's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough. Now, they're pro athletes. I get it. These are uncharted times right now, and I'll do anything for sports back. But to put people in jeopardy, I'm not for. And I know how big business runs, though.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen it our whole lives. I know South Korea is playing with masks on. You want guys playing with masks on? If you want to watch an NBA guy with a gas mask on, then go ahead. I can't watch that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm scared to death. All I'm thinking about is like, oh my God.
We're gonna have a basket.
I just lost Steve. What did he say?
I don't know.
We're gonna have a basketball court full of Baines.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's just
or what? We're gonna live in a bubble boy world where we're gonna have to play sports in the bubbles.
In the bubbles, yeah.
Vinny's saying July for baseball earliest, I think.
I hope so.
How they get started in June, guys. There's too much that goes into it.
Listen. If they do that, you could forget about an even 82 game season.
Oh yeah.
60.
Yeah.
Maybe
if that.
If they push off and they play and they want to play, if they want to stay down with no fans, like I said, they stay down south and then they end up playing the World Series like they talked about at Dodger Stadium. You could stretch into December. You could, figuring everybody's playing in Arizona or Florida. You could play to December with the World Series being hosted at Dodger Stadium, and then maybe you have fans by December.
Mm-hmm. I don't even know. Like I really don't know when it comes to like bringing fans in. I don't know because it's tough.
Here's one. Matt Spills, Tom, what do you think about our kids' travel baseball seasons being canceled? Season is already a month in. No end to this virus in sight. Do we get our money back or we beat LOL? From speaking from somebody who's in the AAU scene, I don't know how it works with the place you're working with, man. I don't know them details. I don't want to speculate on them details, but I will speculate on the fact of what I think's going to happen to travel ball. Not looking good. It's not looking good. It just isn't. Like, to me, wishful thinking, like I'm praying, we get out there in June. I don't know, man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You talking about kids.
Yeah, you're talking about kids, putting kids in jeopardy.
Talking about kids. Me personally, where my feel is, we get travel baseball in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's looking like.
Yeah, it's crazy too because you think about like even like older than like kids. You're thinking about like teenagers and seniors that are leaving high school and looking to get scholarships for college, and their season's gone. So like, what happens then? Do the scouts look at the tape from last season? That's what I'm assuming they have to do. But you have to wonder that as well. Like, how does the NCAA bring in prospects this season? How does the NCAA? Obviously, they lost money with March Madness, but how do you bring in future prospects, whether it be lacrosse or any of the spring sports? I don't know how how that whole evaluation process is going to work, aside from looking at tape from last season.
I mean, yeah, as far as baseball goes, I mean, the whole summer is like your showcase for scholarships. You know, all the perfect game events down there. The Diamond Nations, up around this way. That's what summer baseball is all about.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you said, I mean, I don't know how they're going to go about bringing in their new recruits and go back off of last year.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy times.
And also, like when you think about like as this all plays out, like what about some of these players who like your collegiate athletes, regardless if we're talking about baseball, basketball, whatever, you might have guys who are like because the season ended and that they may stay now because now they don't have that body of work that they were hoping to showcase. Now they can't do it. And it's gonna make things interesting when it comes to when you're getting in draft and when you're talking about at least baseball and basketball as all this stuff is stopped because like it's more prevalent in basketball where some of these younger kids jump into the draft, but baseball is not really that big of a thing too, but it's one of these things where you have to keep an eye on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, listen, it's just Bill talking about kids missing graduation from high school. I mean, there's so many people affected in different ways, even without having the virus. It's tough. I mean, Levi talking about my school is rescheduled. I guess the graduation 3 days before graduation, or JV for 3 days before graduation, and prom literally the day before graduation, all in June, and it all gets canceled if they're not in school by June.
Wow. Well, even like prom, I remember I don't know, Levi, if you're like a senior or what you are, but like prom was like the
Coach Levi. So
yeah, okay,
Levi's the man.
Okay. But like for kids, I remember being in high school. Like I wasn't a big like prom guy. It was all about for like the after party for a lot of people. So like that's the big exciting thing to wrap up the end of the year with your high school classmates and whatever. Yeah.
Now you're pushing this on them. No, he's a good kid, but you're right. You miss out on all the extra. You miss out on going down in the summer down to the shore with all your boys.
Right.
You miss out on the little things, and these are the things that I feel for every one of these kids because we all got to experience it at the high school level. There was questions asked the other night. What does a kid do, junior, senior, whatever? Do they go play AAU ball in the summer, or do they finish off their high school year if they have the ability to? You finish off your high school year. It ain't even a conversation. And I'm an AAU guy, but. Listen, these are the guys I grew up with. These are the guys I went to school with my whole life. I owe it to these guys if I have an ability to play a high school season to play it, over playing a travel summer ball. If I'm a junior, I can play fall baseball. I'm good. I still get my looks there. So I don't need to do it in the summer. You owe it to your seniors to finish off something if you have the opportunity to do it.
Absolutely. I completely agree.
And like I came back in, but we were talking about like when sports will be back, obviously. Was that
yeah.
There?
Yeah.
We put guns to head. What was everybody's answer?
I was like right at the end of June, beginning of July.
That's where I was at.
Yeah.
Like tail end of June, beginning of
July. Because we talked about it on Wednesday at Ammunition PM, but we were just specifically baseball. And I said middle of June, June 15th. I know some other guys said Memorial Day, but it's.
Listen, I'm hard pressed. I'm almost thinking September.
Wow.
How do you look at the numbers? Just no bias. Just look at the numbers every day, and you're going up 200,000 worldwide like nightly when you wake up.
Mm-hmm.
How do I think that sports are back by June? How? I mean, I want to believe they are. But how do I look at numbers and then say, oh, we'll be back by June. It's cool. No, I just don't see it.
And if sports aren't back by the middle, July, how is the NFL going to be starting on time?
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't just September 6th comes around, first week in September, and
go play.
We're kicking off. Oh yeah, here we go. Football's back. You had no training camps, no no
OTAs or
preseason
anything
games,
like that. Yep.
no,
But here's the thing with football. You can just like even if we don't start in September and we're a month or two behind, even if we go into February and March playing football, does it really affect it that much? It affects the offseason for the following season, but it still enables them to get it done.
Right, they get it done, but
It'll be different. It'll be different for us. It'll be different for them. It's different for the league. We're in a different time right now, and that's something we're all going to have to get used to.
Well, to Steve's point, the people that it's really going to affect, and just sticking in the NFC East, you have 3 new head coaches in the NFC East, in the Redskins, the Giants. It's just a thing with the Cowboys as well. But like, you need that time to install your offense, get rapport with your players. You can't show up to work and be like, oh, well, here we are.
I think it benefits the guys who've been places for a while, right? So I think the Doug Petersons of the world, the Sean McVays of the world, obviously the Bill Belichick's of the world to a point right now. The coaches that have been places for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
We just lost Tommy.
Okay, we're good.
I don't know what's wrong with mine. I'm hard lined in, baby. I can't even get anything tighter in here.
We lost for a hot second.
But no, I mean that's what it's going to affect more than the guys who have been around. But then it affects so many things. Like, I just don't know how they start on time. I don't know. Everybody wants to stay positive in the sports world, and I want to too. But I don't know how they start in September, and they miss out on all the I don't care about preseason, but they miss out on all the camps and the practices and all that. I just don't know how you didn't just jump in September and say, hey, we're ready to roll. I mean, they got a fucking players union here. You know what I mean? There's a players union. There's guys going to say, whoa. I ain't ready to just jump in. There's going to be guys who say that. There's going to be guys in Major League Baseball, if they try starting in June, saying, whoa, I ain't good with this. Right? You talk about travel baseball. You talk about all the way up. There's going to be parents at the lower levels. There's going to be guys at the higher level saying, nope, I'm not showing the fuck up. How do you handle that then? Because that's going to be the next thing. Nobody looks at that side of it. We all look at like, well, baseball says they're back.
Right.
I say 25% say nope. If they try to do it too early. And there's still rampant cases, and it's rampant, and it's not slowing down. Like if I'm a player, I'm questioning if I got kids and I got other things. Like whoa, hold on, and that's why you got a players union. So that's then you create that fight. If everybody thinks everybody's going to be, we're good to go in June, and nobody's going to have an issue with it, but cases worldwide are 2 fucking million. I think people are going to say.
There you go.
Yeah, we didn't look at that today.
But I think the big thing right now, the people that are really going to be affected, like not just minus the coaches, like just think about the rookies that are coming in. The rookies have no clue what they're coming into. Like especially with the NFL, you're going to have new playbooks and whatever. It's going to be a huge transition.
Yeah, but here's the other thing. Like, all right, the rookies coming in, you're sitting there saying that if it's delayed, it actually might help them get a hold of these playbooks. Some of these rookies who you may not expect to perform, maybe the first half of the season, who actually get a little bit more production from them early on because they're able to kind of get a hold of some of these things. But I think the other part of it is that where Jake's getting is like the speed of the game, some of the other nuances that you just can't learn from a book. They're going to be far behind on.
Right.
Yeah,
and that's why
the wave of people will say, "I'm not playing." Not yet.
And I think the biggest thing is that's why you still have the draft, NFL draft on time, because say hypothetically everything is good by the time the football season comes around, and you push the draft back. Well, now you can't because you didn't have the fucking draft.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. So you got to keep things on time.
Yeah.
Because you have to assume you're starting in September. And listen, Anthony, I understand there's going to be people that are hyped to play. They should be. I get that. But there's going to be the other percentage that are saying, listen, man, I'm not comfortable yet. There just is. And if you think there isn't, then you guys are crazy. If you think there is at least 10%, and 10%'s a lot. 10%'s a lot. If a couple big name guys say, whoa, or now let's go bigger. Let's go bigger, right? You start too fucking soon, and one guy gets it, it's all shut down again. So remember that too. Remember that. It's not that easy. When these When these commissioners are on the phone with the president of the United States today, it's because of that. It's because they're being informed. Like, remember something. Remember, you start, one guy gets it, your whole league shut down.
Mhm.
Again, then you got to restart it again. So now you're going to do a 2-week spring training, hypothetically, get guys ready to go. One guy gets it, you're shut. Talking about, basketball, baseball, hockey.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Talking about
Yeah.
them sports before September.
Yeah, it's just going to be really interesting. And Matt Spills also makes a good point. He's like, you can't force people to risk life for a check. It's got to be a mutually agreed upon. Absolutely. That's going to be a big part of it. And I think and like Tom touched on earlier, I think we're going to see that conflict from certain players. Well, it might not be rookies per se, but it'll be like the older vets that typically get into shape around training camp and use training camp to help them get in shape.
I think that's the other thing. Like, it's not just catching the virus. It's some of these veterans or like, the guys that they're getting towards the end of their career
Mhm.
who need to be in a certain physical shape to
Mhm.
be able to perform throughout the season without accruing, these nagging little injuries.
Mhm.
That's why they have this stuff, is so they can get in season shape, so their body's conditioned, so they can continue to move along with what they're going to do. Damn, we're losing everybody.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
So, I mean, basically, when when you're sitting here doing this, it's just one of these crazy things, guys.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, we lost everybody here.
But
Back.
We all good?
Yeah, we're all good now.
what about the other? What about
But
the other?
it's the physical thing more than anything.
The other sports.
At this point, for some of the older guys.
What were you saying, Nick?
I said, what about the other sports aside from the basketball, the NHL, NBA, MLB? What about the MMA, the boxing, the golf?
I think they all take their cues, and they're all going to take their cues from the NBA. Like it's sort of bingo, and I think they all take their cues from the NBA.
I don't hear anything.
I think the NBA is the one. Levi says musical chairs. I think they all take their cue from them, right? I mean, that's sort of how it all shut down. Was sort of from the NBA.
You guys there?
Yeah, I hear you. You guys hear me?
Yeah.
I
hear you.
Shit.
Steve,
How don't I have an issue?
All right, 'cause
Orlando,
it
bring it in.
It went completely dead there for a second.
Uncle Hardline, come on, man.
I mean, wake up, Comcast. This is why
Uncle Hardline.
Uncle Hardline.
Rising guy. This is why. Freaking
He's blaming it on Tommy now.
5 fucking minutes down the street.
But,
Verizon?
You were saying the other sports now, right?
Yeah, I was saying the other sport, the boxing, MMA, the golf.
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, I think they're first, because like you already sitting there saying that you see Dana White was trying to make this thing happen up until Khabib got flagged that he wasn't going to get on the plane. They were going to make that fight happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking, as far as first goes, is probably your combat sport, MMA, boxing, jiu-jitsu, those type of things. Your wrestling, and then we'll see the 4 major sports.
Okay.
Yeah, you think
Just in the simple fact, because way you break it down is you're talking about singular guys, where you're talking about entire organizations. It's the money thing at the time, because if they get into it, like Tommy was saying, they're saying you start spring training, you start this, one guy gets it, it's all shut down.
Mm-hmm.
You'd rather start it with something smaller, a smaller organization, a smaller sport, than something as big as the NFL, as big as baseball, etc.
I agree. I think them smaller ones get rolling first.
Yeah.
It's the only way. It's the only natural way for it to be done. You know what I mean?
Bill Middlebrook also says golf will be back within weeks. I don't know about weeks, but
Bill, you're such a flip flop there, baby. You're talking about everything shut down till fall, and now you're talking about golf back in.
You hear Tommy? Because I don't.
I do.
Yeah.
You don't hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. I don't think Steve does.
I don't hear Tommy. I see his lips moving.
Jesus.
What are you talking about, Bill? Now it's got back.
Oh man, stop it. We gotta love technology today. The internets are just making everything so enjoyable to do our show today.
I think this program sort of like informs you, though. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like it sort of tells you what's up. It sort of tells you, like, with everybody home, it gets a little log jamish sometimes. But
yeah,
we're here. Well, Steve and me aren't here, but everybody else here, talk amongst yourselves.
Do you hear him?
Yeah, I can hear Tommy.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
Levi also says not when you have no clue in the world where the fights are going to be. Yeah, I that's more Steve's. What do you
Well,
call
no,
it?
it's
That's more
not-
Steve's bread and butter.
It's not no clue in the world. It's not no clue in the world. They already said they're going to do it right at that facility that they built there in Las Vegas. It's not going to be at the the MGM Grands or of the world. They have a facility where they can hold an event. It's completely secluded from fans and all that. Is basically, if you go look at the Dana White's fight series and stuff like that, look at that stuff, and that's pretty much where it's going to be.
That's a good point.
You
Oh
wanna do
God.
this, Bill?
Oh no.
You want to do this?
Oh no!
This is why I wish Brodo was in here. Brodo would would be the first time I'd probably see Brodo actually.
No. I'm with you. I didn't consider that a sport. All
I
right.
don't either.
Where I can't get on somebody mid-shot, that's not a sport. When I got to be quiet, when you're hitting something stand still, that ain't a sport.
Mhm.
That's upper echelon, nose up people that I don't even like. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's how I look at that world.
I
right?
never heard that. That's a hot take right there.
I'm not on my level. So baseball, you're getting pitches 101 at you, people yelling and screaming. You got to hit that. That's a sport.
Mhm.
Going across the middle of football with a crowd going, blah, 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 and the dude about to take your head off. Sport. Right? Basketball, when I'm about to take a shot on the road, I'm going to hear from benches, from fans in the moment. Sport. Golf needs to do one thing to make themselves a sport. Allow me to yell at you when you're taking your damn shot.
Baba Booey.
Yeah, Ted, I'm saying it ain't no sport.
Oh, man.
It's like sportish, right? That's how I look at golf.
Sportish.
It's like sportish. It's fringe. You're looking for one thing to change and make it a sport. Let me yell at you when you're about to take a shot. What? I gotta be quiet, and I gotta be. Nah.
You can't.
But I disagree with you, though, because
you can't even curse on the green or nothing.
There's a lot of people that go into a golf event. There's a lot of factors and people.
There's no emotion in golf. What are you talking about? That's why it's not considered a major sport.
He said golf's a hobby. Yeah,
Golf's a hobby.
I agree. Let's get away from golf. I can't talk golf.
Yeah, I can't talk golf. Either.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's saying. Ted, golf isn't a sport.
I'm almost right here, literally on air.
Little side note, Woj just tweeted, and this is from Woj's Twitter. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver told those on Trump's conference call that the leagues were the first to shut down and that they would love to lead the way in starting the economy once everything is all clear from public health officials, source called from ESPN. So basically, once they get the health clear, they'll try and come back. But we don't know when that'll
Save
be.
everybody time from going and looking at other people's damn Twitters for a minute. We're gonna save people time. Okay. A lot of us sat here and said the cues are gonna come from the NBA.
Mhm.
Sat here and said you don't need fucking Shefty, you don't need Windhurst, you don't need freaking Woj who's in everybody's pocket. You don't need all them. You just need A2D because we sat here and told you the NBA is going to lead the way. They make the most money out of everybody. They're the biggest worldwide business in professional sports. They lead the way. People can tell me the NFL makes more money.
Mhm.
NBA makes the most money out of professional sports because of the worldwide effect. Why do you think so many other major sports try to get global? The NFL's trying to piggyback off what the NBA did because they realize, wow, internationally, there's markets.
Mhm.
There's markets. Now, maybe they're a little late. I don't know. But now that you know, the NFL makes plenty of money. But the NBA is the go to money making, and they dictate. They're going to dictate what goes on here, just like that tweet said, Jake.
Mhm.
So y'all save your time. Save your time. Just come here.
Mhm.
Come here.
Right. Steve, can you turn your thing down?
He's trying to hear me, so he knows how to respond.
Yeah, and like Tommy said, I agree. It's just going to be the NBA leading the way, and we'll figure it out from there. Ted FX also says, "Can the Sixers trade Horford right now?" I don't think so, just because I'm pretty sure everything's closed as far as the NBA goes, is the front offices and everything like that. I don't know what Adam Silver's doing, but
Yeah, whole league shut down.
yeah, everything's shut
No
down.
more,
I don't think their front offices are open, minus the actual NBA front offices. But
And plus, the trade deadline passed anyway.
yeah, so
And Bill, when they instantly stopped that night, I locked my door and haven't left. Yup. Because that's when it got scary.
yeah,
That was my whole thing that week was like, whoa. You got billion-dollar companies shutting down?
mm-hmm.
Shutting down? Okay.
Uncle Hardline.
Yeah, right.
I'm out again.
There you go.
Like everybody says, it's not a joke. When these companies are losing a ton of money, it shows you that this virus it wasn't something to mess around with.
Right.
Because they don't shut down. Like a dude gets the flu on the court, Jordan drops 50.
Mm-hmm.
Not shut down.
It's not shut down.
Not the flu. You know what I mean? It's bigger than that. And that's the scary part of it. And I think that's where we all can lean on is, hey, follow what the NBA is doing.
Mm-hmm.
If the NBA is talking about Atlantic City and Vegas and it actually gets closer to happening, this thing's sort of going the other way. All right? If it doesn't, and the NBA at some point tells you, start worrying about when you're getting sports back. That's all.
Yep, I said this the other night. I trust what Adam Silver is doing. I think he's the brightest out of all the commissioners, and then everybody else is going to follow his lead.
Yeah,
completely agree, Jules. Levi, where and what were you guys doing when the NBA started to shut down? I was in the gym working out, finished the set, looked up, and my jaw dropped. I was doing a show, Levi, that Wednesday night.
Mm-hmm.
It was the weirdest and craziest show I've ever done. I've never experienced anything like that in my life, obviously. And watching games shut down was something. I mean, we got the news of Rudy Gobert. We were supposed to go live at 9. We got the news of Rudy Gobert like 8:58.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going, what the hell are we going to talk about? And I kept coming on. Everything's going to get shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Just crazy. Just crazy.
And with me, I was watching Tommy's show, and I was just, as everything was coming in, I was looking at their reactions. I'm like, oh my god! And it was just as soon as they announced Rudy Gobert got sick, it was just a trickle down effect, and just everything started shutting down. I'm like, oh my god.
Jules,
I believe I was just coming back from the gym as well. I walked in, turned the game on, and I was pretty much shocked, just like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Phone blowing up.
It's crazy.
Steve, where were you at?
I don't know if Steve can hear us.
Steve still can't hear us.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he can hear any of us right now. Having internet issues. Spills also said, remember when I called in the first fan view or first fan Friday? Pull the tape. I said it seemed overblown. Fucking idiot. 2 days later, the whole tune changed. Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy. But to Spills' point, I think that's how a lot of people were. A lot of people thought it was like kind of just overblown. People were overreacting, and then we all started seeing everything getting shut down. The people that didn't really think it was as serious as it was, everyone's like, whoa. Hold on a minute. Like Tommy said earlier, billion-dollar companies were shutting down. So that tells you something right there.
Yeah, it's scary times, honestly, when it comes to this. And, we're all hanging our hat and banking on some sports coming back sooner than later.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. All right. Let's get into our last topic. With as far as the draft goes, I know we've been beating it over the head this past week since there really hasn't been much to talk about as far as sports goes. But who do you think? And this goes out for the fam as well. Who do you think the Eagles should be drafting, or who do you think they should draft? I should say, not the. You don't have to give the whole draft as a whole. You can just say the first round, plain and simple. Who do you think the Eagles should draft?
I think they should go a defensive player at 20, assuming they stay at 21.
Mm-hmm.
We go defensive player, only if those receivers don't. Those top 3 receivers, we all know the names: Lamb, Judy, maybe even Ruggs. But I would take a defensive player over Ruggs at 21.
Mhm.
It's because the wide receiver position is really deep this year. I mean, it's probably one of the best in recent years that I can even remember.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of good talent out there on the defensive side of the ball that we could use. A linebacker, we can use another corner. I say this all the time. You need young, good corners in this league, especially in going up against top NFC teams that we're going to face. But C.J. Henderson, I'd love to take C.J. Henderson at 21.
I would love C.J. Henderson at 21.
That's assuming we stay at 21.
Yeah, theoretically, I think just how everything's been going. I think there was a report. I don't know how official it is or not, but there was a quote unquote, when I say report, that the Eagles don't really plan on trading up, and I'm not against that either. Just because of after the Darius Slay trade, I don't think they have enough ammo to necessarily get to where they need to be to get a Henry Ruggs or a Jerry Jeudy or a CeeDee Lamb or anything like that. So I think the better option, and I think Howie's looking the same way too. Obviously, if we just stand pat, I'd like to see C.J. Henderson, but I can also see Patrick Queen as well. Patrick Queen's another.
I would like to see Patrick Queen as well too. Somebody that can play, sideline to sideline, make tackles, athletic, good in pass coverage. I'm a big defensive guy. I'm a big defensive guy, and I believe.
Why is Steven here twice?
I was trying to add him in.
Oh, okay.
Remove him from this one.
Okay, see if that matters. Might be the internet on his end, maybe.
Could be why we're all freezing.
Yeah, maybe. Just everyone's on the internet and it's Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he does. But my only thing with I'd love to have Patrick Queen. Okay, cool. But yeah, I'd love to have Patrick Queen. But the thing is, the Eagles haven't drafted a first-round linebacker since 1978, I think it was. I don't know the exact player, but I just can't. I don't see it happening. I love the idea of having a C.J. Henderson just being the number 2 alongside Darius Slay, because it has someone in Darius Slay who C.J. Henderson can learn under and learn from how to be a pro, how to be a top corner in this league. Realistically, I'd like to see C.J.
Because if you think about it too, how Slay is what, 29?
28, 29, yeah.
29. I mean, he's not old, but he's not young. He's not in his mid-20s.
Right.
So by the end of his contract, okay, he might not be playing at the level that he's playing at right now.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're talking about 3 years down the road, now we're in a position all over again where we just left with no corners. So if we can land a top corner with the first pick that we can have for the next 8, 9 years, 10 years, that's solid, and we don't let him leave Philadelphia.
Right.
That's a huge plus.
Ted FX also says, what about Fulton? How did he become the 3rd best corner? It's
I guess it depends on preference.
Yeah, it's really all preference, honestly. Christian Fulton's good, and obviously I'm a big LSU guy, so I watch a lot of Christian Fulton. He was injured. He suffered a, what do you call it? It wasn't an ankle injury. He had some type of injury. It wasn't as bad as Grant Delpitz, who was suffering through an ankle injury most of the season. But Fulton was hurt a good portion of the year. Now, don't get me wrong, he's a great corner, and LSU just keeps breeding corners and defensive players.
He wasn't even the best corner on the team.
No, he wasn't. It was Singletary, who's, what do you call it?
No,
who's
Stingley.
Stingley, yeah. But who's a freshman, as crazy as that sounds. He's a freshman. Yeah, which is amazing, but we'll see. I'd like to go either cornerback or linebacker or just defense in general. I don't want to see a D tackle or a defensive end. But yeah, we got you.
Levi responding to how did Fulton become a top prospect? He went to LSU and played in the second year. That's why. And he's right. I mean, that's why.
No, I mean, you can name the list of guys that played LSU in the secondary that are all pros in the NFL.
Yeah, always chances on those guys.
Mm-hmm. Patrick Peterson, Tyrann Mathieu, the list goes on. The list goes on. Deontay Jackson, who's in Carolina.
Jamal Adams.
Jamal Adams.
You could do a whole show on it.
Yeah. You could make an argument for Jalen Mills, who was a 7th-round pick, who arguably is one of Howie's better picks in the later rounds. So Stingley was the best corner in the country. Yeah, no, I agree.
Agreed.
I completely agree.
So I say All-American.
And
not
I'm
all SEC.
and I'm saying this now. I think coming out in the next year or two, once Stingley becomes eligible, he's going to be probably just as good, if not better, than Jalen Ramsey was coming out in the draft.
Mhm.
As long as he keeps trickling in that upper tier direction, anyway, in that top direction. Wide receiver in the later round.
Here's what I think is going on with the Eagles. Once they announced, basically made it that Alshon's basically saying, I think we should kind of disappear with the fact that they're not going to go with a wide receiver in the first round. I think we should just accept that fact right now. Everyone me and Tom have been high on Judy and some of these other guys. I just think at this point, the way that they do things, the way that the landscape's kind of laying out, I think us as fans are going to have to get rid of the fact that we are not getting a wide receiver with that first pick. That is more than likely, with the guys that they're bringing in, it's going to be a second-round wide receiver pick. And maybe there's one of these guys that we don't know that they're going to surprise us with.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible.
All right, real quick. Devin Bush.
I would say Deion Jones.
I was thinking more of like a younger Thomas Davis. That's what I was thinking. The more I look into it, I see more
guys in the way.
Yeah, I see more of a Thomas Davis.
Who'd you say, Jones?
I
Joel?
said Deion Jones from the Falcons, yeah.
Yeah. I see a little bit more of that. I just think, to me, impact-wise, day one is a Bush or like a Jones to me.
Yeah.
Guys who walked in day one, they're impactful.
Yeah.
Now, Tom, did you give your player who do you want the Eagles to draft? I know you want Judy, but if they stood pat at 21, who do you see them taking?
I'm with Steve on this. I don't see it happening. When they're not going to just get rid of Alshon's money. It looks like they're they tried to make it seem like everything's okay, right? There's no negative stuff in the locker room. Everything's fine. So they're shooting to go that way, and that tells me that they don't think they can get up to get one of the guys they want. So I think they're staying put at 21. If not, they trade back. And it looks to me like you guys said, and from a lot of mocks, that defensive guys, defensive guys. So I think Queen's there at 21. I do. Yeah. I think EJ Henderson's there at 21. Either one of them guys are impactful day one. Need-wise, give me Patrick Queen. Let's go to bed. And we got top 5 defense in football.
Levi also says, the Deion Jones, another LSU guy. Yep.
Yes, he is.
Yep.
It's funny when you stay in that conference what you can get out of it.
I tell people all the time, just draft SEC players or even just look at LSU for defense or
that's it.
Just
you want to go secondary, you want to go defense, you go LSU.
Right.
You want to go wide receiver, we talk about Alabama.
Yeah. Or LSU too.
Yeah, LSU too.
Sporting Advantage says, I think he's Jefferson. Jefferson's an underrated guy to me. I agree. Because he could be there at 21. And he could very well be well worth that pick at 21. I mean, you're talking about a guy, and I've said it before, you're talking about a guy with 111 receptions in the damn SEC. I don't give a shit what his 40 is.
It was a 4.4. I mean, that ain't nothing to sneeze at either.
No, if you're doing that in the Pac-12, then I need to know your 40 then a little bit more. I mean, you're doing that in the, wherever. But, doing it in the SEC against the talent you go up against, to me, I think he could be a steal at 21 in a way.
I think so too.
I mean, I didn't see a guy who couldn't get over the top. I watched a lot of LSU games. I didn't see that issue that people were making it out to be. Just like I don't see some of the issues they try to bring up about Judy either. Size and the ability to attack the ball in space, like little things.
He's not small, but he's not that typical, Julio Jones prototype. I mean, I think Judy's 6'1", buck 90, buck 95.
Something like that, yeah.
That's about like your average receiver.
And you look at Jefferson. I mean, you talk about 6'3", 192. A big target.
Yeah.
Boys, 1,540 damn yards, 18 touchdowns. 18 touchdowns. You won't give it all to Barrow, go ahead. But you got to catch the ball and get open. In 2018, now granted, he's coming out after his junior year. So, I mean, imagine if he had a senior year. Oh, right? 2018, I mean, nothing to sneeze at either. 54, 875, 16 yards a catch, 6 TDs.
You know, yeah, Joey Breadbasket, man.
Yeah.
Dropping it in there.
We got a guy who could drop in breadbasket. So I mean,
Yeah.
to me, it's like it's 3 LSU guys I would take at 21, honestly.
Mhm.
I would take Jefferson. I'd have no problem with Queen. And then I'm trying to think who the outside pass rusher is. I'm drawing a blank.
I forget. I know who you're talking about. I forget his name.
Stud too. He's a stud
Mhm.
too.
Yeah.
But they're my 3 or Henderson. But I would mean you're talking about 4 SEC guys that I would take at 21 right there if available. It'd just be tough. If I had to choose between Jefferson and Queen, I'm like, I don't know.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? The guy had a monster year as a junior.
Right.
Monster year. Shit. How you falling? Because your 40 time? Because of shirts and a tee? I don't know, man. I know a lot of people were high on him, and I wasn't as high, but I've been watching a lot more just going back.
Mhm.
And it's like, oh, man, I sort of want this guy.
I've seen a couple of reports that they were looking at Mims, Denzel Mims.
Yep.
You can't go him at 21.
Not at 21, no.
You
But
can't go 21.
Second round, like John Adcock says, Mims falls to the second I'm in.
Could
but
they go defense first 2 picks?
Good.
They could, but I think I'd have more of an issue with that if they went back-to-back defense because you still need that wide receiver.
What if you go defense first 2 picks and then you trade back up in the second round?
Depends on who's available. I mean, I'm for it, but at the same time, it depends on who's available.
Yeah, man, I want my talent. I want my talent, like Jules said. I want it early on.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get a linebacker and a corner, that fills a whole bunch of needs. I mean, I know the glaring need is a receiver. We all know that.
Or linebacker.
Yeah.
Linebacker or corner.
Mm-hmm.
Linebacker. But see, I think they are going to be where they're at. I think like even if there's somebody they may covet, I think that because where they are at with Sidney Jones and all that they wouldn't do it higher this year. That if Sidney fails and it isn't who they think it next year, it would be one of your top 3 picks might be a corner. Yeah. I'm thinking they're going to stay pat with what they have. I mean, and we still have the kick tires on the possibility of the Yannick trade too, because of the fact that they are staying with Alshon, that gives them more flexibility with that first round pick to move things and make things happen other ways.
Mm-hmm.
But if the Yannick trade does happen, it's more than likely that it would include Rasul Douglas, which puts the cornerback back into play.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to get you guys' opinion. How does everybody feel about them bringing Alshon back? They agree or disagree with that?
As a fan of who he is as a person, what he means to fans in the city, I'm not against it. But with the possibility that he's probably the guy that was the rat, right?
Right.
There's also the thing where he has had problems with Carson. Didn't fly out there last year with the rest of the wide receiver core. There was rumblings about this, that, and the third. Yeah, when Alshon was hurt and everything was starting to kind of turn the other side, you seen him in the hallways and talking to Carson and everything. That may on the water seem like everything's fine, but there's something there. There's something there. You can't dismiss that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they're both trying to do the professional thing and try to find a way to amicably move forward.
Mm-hmm.
I think it also could be a recipe for another disaster too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm not a fan of keeping it. I think financially they're trying to say like, hey, we may have to just ride this one out and see how it goes and just pray it doesn't fester and become worse.
I mean, going back to our first topic, I mean that's a bad contract.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, you have to give him that contract based on what he did his first year.
No, I actually think it's more of a loyalty thing. I think he came here on the presence. That's why he signed that 1-year deal.
Right.
And he came here for the Super Bowl season. That's why they owed him that. They said, "Hey, this is what we want," and then it became a situation where I don't know if it was the situation with Nick and the Carson. There was a different personality. I don't know what happened. We don't know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 5-10 years from now we'll get the answer to that. But as of right now, we're all in the dark with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, me personally, I'm not okay with it because we know what volatile things could happen from him staying.
Mm-hmm.
As a fan, like how he is with the fan base. Have you ever been to a signing where Alshon was? I have, and he loves the city in that aspect. So we're at this thing as we are fans. It's like, do we hate him because of what we know is happening, or do we love him because how he is with the general fans? So I'm at it where I'm not happy with it because it's bad. As much as I love him, I can't sit there and say what he did. Okay, well, that's in the past. This is what have you done for me now, lately, league, life, whatever, however you look at it. He needs to give us something, and I don't think we're going to get it from him. We're going to see him, week 12, 13, 14? So what we got to hope is – so what we got to hope for is whatever issue he has, he deals with it during rehab, and when he comes to us during the season, it's at the end of the year, making a playoff run where all he wants is what's there, right? Is what's there in front of him. Playoffs, Super Bowl. This is things that wide receivers and guys like him and of his ilk want. So let's hope that that's what the Eagles are looking at. That's what they're banking on. I'm not buying it though.
Yeah. I think with my whole thing is with it. They say they want him back. They love Alshon. Howie says he loves Alshon. But you have to look at it this way, too. Matt Rule said he was excited to work with Cam Newton and coach Cam Newton. What happened? Doug Peterson said he loved working with Corey Ellen and some of his coaches. What happened to them? You know what I mean? Like, you can say things at face value, but it doesn't mean what you're actually saying. You know what I mean?
Exactly. You try to spin.
Right.
You spin. Now, I know I agree with the comments. I agree with him being a snake. I agree with all that stuff. But I also said this the other day. He don't got a fucking leg to stand on here. So he can try to come in the locker room and become an issue. But this quarterback, what he did at the end of the year last year, stamped leadership, stamped carrier, stamped a bunch of practice squad guys. I'm going to win games late. It ended all the conversation. So to come in the locker room and be an issue, he doesn't have it anymore because this locker room rallied around their quarterback last year. We witnessed it as a fan base. So to me, they're not going to eat that money. They never were going to eat that money. So they're hoping he can be healthy. They're hoping he can contribute in some fashion in this football team. They don't have a lot of wide receivers as it is, so they need every body they can get that has had some sort of career. You know what I mean? And they're praying for the health. But to me, I really don't have a major issue with it because I trust my quarterback is a man enough now and a leader enough and has grown to be able to not worry about it. That's why. That's why I could care less. I care less about attitudes coming in this locker room because my vets here are big-time leaders. Big-time leaders. So I don't think it affects anything. I really don't. They won a Super Bowl on the same damn team. Your quarterback was going to be the MVP throwing the damn football. I don't think there's an issue as big as it got blown out of proportion, too. Guys say shit, man. This is pro athletes. Guys talk in the moment and not really mean exactly what they're saying, too. You know, Justina's a rat, too. She's a crumb. All right? Name your fucking source. All right? Somebody's saying something. That's easy to say, ain't it? Anybody can say it. I go put a tweet out right now that somebody from the Eagles told me something. It's easy to do, especially when you got a blue check and everybody's going to rush to it. Doesn't mean anything was ever even said that's that egregious. If something was said that egregious, this guy ain't on this football team no more. He's not. There's no way. I'll tell you who I think it was. I said it from day one. Listen to the way he talks. It was Malcolm, man.
You think?
Look at the way he talks about the checkdowns, right? About not going for the – you're on defense. What are you worried about the offense for? Make sense? The other guy came here to play with Carson. It's the reason he came here. He said it.
So Tom, you think that? So what you're thinking?
He's such a great leader. He won't say shit. He's more in Josina's pocket than freaking Alshon is.
Do you think that's why he's out of here? Because maybe it's more of a like he feels spurned by the upper management of this team, became a malcontent, and just kind of talked his way out of the locker room.
Who's the guy who needed the money? Who's the guy not even 24 hours after a loss is talking about money?
Yeah.
Who was it?
Yeah.
Mr. Leader, right? This whole fan base wants to crown as this big leader of this team. Wrong. Wrong. I stand by Orlando Scandrick with that. I stood by it. He's a crumb, but I stand by it.
Mhm.
I stand by some selfishness. Okay? Not that he didn't do it in a rat way, but to me, he was the guy from day one who was the one talking. He's the one who wasn't getting his money, right? He's the one who played every snap, felt like he was owed something, rightfully so, okay? But again, he wasn't the main leader of this locker room. He was not. He was one of them.
BG.
He had a voice, no question about it. I loved it.
I wouldn't say leader. He was the guy who had the biggest voice in the room.
He was the guy that the reporters would always go to, and
With it. I love his cause. I love the causes. So I got no issue with that. But that's where people took this whole leadership. He's the biggest leader in this locker room. It's fucking Brandon Graham. I'll say it till I can't say it no more. Why do you think they gave him all the money? Why do you think they didn't let him out the door?
Right.
I got so much confidence in Doug Peterson and the way he values men and leaders of his locker room. I got so much confidence in that. So much. If Malcolm was as greatest leader as they say he was, he's getting the money. His production went down too.
Yeah.
More of a reason to start.
Way down.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it was him. We don't know who it was. It just seems to me it'd be more him because he did all the talking he did when they were struggling offensively. He did a lot of talking.
Yeah.
And a lot of energy. Had a lot to say about the offensive side of the ball. Interesting.
And not enough producing.
Not enough producing. How about you take the ball away? You take the ball away.
I'm with Tommy there. When's the last time that he made an impactful like turnover play in the last season and a half?
So I said Rodney McLeod's better. People are going to crush me for it. Rodney McLeod's better. Rodney McLeod's better.
Yes.
He's younger.
I don't disagree with that. I'm not a McLeod fan, but I wouldn't disagree with that.
All right, to take away
Rodney's all I'm saying. Like last year's Rodney, no, he wasn't better than him. Fair.
Right.
Yeah.
2017 Rodney was better than Malcolm Jenkins. Okay, you look, listen to the broadcast. One of the broadcasts of the game last year, I forget, it might have been Charles Davis, was talking about when you look back and look at tape of the Eagles defensively, when Rodney plays his best games, this defense plays their best games. So I'm not making it up. It's not like made up stuff. Malcolm always is consistent. There's no taking anything away from that. But I was never like this guy that was like, we can never lose Malcolm Jenkins. Like he's this ball hawk. He's great, dude. He won a Super Bowl. I get it. He's older now.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, what did I mean? Do we know the exact number that he wanted? I mean, the guy's 32 years old, maybe going 33. You can't give him double digit.
Right.
He was basically sitting there saying he wanted to be the highest paid player in the position.
Come on,
But that's going back to paying him
top 10 in your position. Barely.
That's going back to paying him for what he did. Yes, you were an Iron Man. You didn't miss any, but that's great. But here's this thing. You're at a position where you're already going down. We're not paying you top money for what you did already. That's not going to happen. Not in the position you're at.
No,
and especially when your playmaking ability has gone down. Yes, you can help put guys in the right position and teach. They have coaches for that. On the field, you need playmakers in that back end of that secondary, and he wasn't it. Take away the Super Bowl hit on Brandon Brooks. What did he do?
No, listen, I completely agree with it. Like Jules said, you're not giving double-digit money for a guy on the downside of their career. That's not what the Eagles do. It's not what the Eagles do. And the fact that they did it with Brandon Graham shows how important Brandon Graham means to them. That's why it's like it's obvious as shit. It's written right in front of her face. It's like, hey, the leader of your team is the one who was the older guy who didn't think we're bringing back because he was over 30. You guys, we all heard it last year before they brought him back. He's over 30. Probably BG's last game here. All that came with it, right? Well,
remember how emotional he was.
Got a big deal too, right, Steve?
But here's
over
him.
There you go.
There you are.
Oh, you hear me? All right. The reason why he got it is because he's up front. If he was a linebacker or anything else, he wouldn't have got that contract. It's because he can play end. He can play end. He can play inside, and the other stuff that he does on special teams in the locker room. That's why he got that contract.
Facts. Now I still believe though if he played any other position, even though you're 100% right, they put so much emphasis on the line, so there's no running from that. That's factual. But I still believe because of the stuff you said about locker room and other things, I don't care really where he played. He was coming back because he's the guy who like sort of motivates these guys. Like he was like the underdog guy because his whole career's been an underdog. And I think that's
everything,
and I think that's why guys rally around him. He's the emotional leader of this defense too. In terms of when you go back and watch, the show about the Eagles, he's the guy always talking.
Do you think that Howie approached BG about Malcolm Jenkins on bringing him back?
There may have been a conversation. It may not have just been with Brandon Graham, but I think there definitely could have been a conversation about it.
I do, especially for a team that has had a hard time getting rid of guys recently too, that have been here for a while, that mean a lot to them. You're like, come on, bro. They're bringing Darren Sproles back on 1-year deals and Jason.
Exactly. That's why I think this is a step, the first step in the right direction.
I agree.
I mean, Howie
the guys that are on the downside of their career.
I mean, Howie openly admitted that he needed to get better in that area, that he couldn't continue to operate the way he was, especially with guys that he loves, that he has this connection to, regardless of the fact that's showing growth in his aspect, not just identifying it, but publicly sitting there saying, I need to fix this. So when we sit there and see Malcolm leave, us as fans should be upset, but the other side of that, as us as covering the sport, should be extremely happy to see him make that transition, and moving forward, we shouldn't have these issues.
What was that comment before? He wanted $15 million.
Yeah. Bryce was saying he wanted $15 million a year, and then Matt Spill said he wanted more money than Jamal Adams, Derwin James, and Tyrann Mathieu.
Yeah, but see, like my only thing with that is I don't believe that just because of the contract that he got in New Orleans. If you look at it, he's making less money in New Orleans now than what his current contract was here.
No, I think the New Orleans thing was to spurn us, because it's another contender that we're going to have to face, and I think he's feeling spurned and he wants to see us in the playoff and hopefully being able to act us out. That was what was available. The end.
Yep.
Well, if you go back and you hear what Sean Payton said before, he said his biggest regret was not bringing him back. In 2014.
Yeah,
and I'm not a huge Malcolm fan either. I wasn't when they first brought him in, but I can't say he did a lot of great things early on in his career here. He proved a lot of people wrong.
Absolutely. And listen, you can't take away from him being on the field all the time and all them things. But I agree, Steve. I think part of it was he feels disrespected. I think he's felt disrespected because this contract thing didn't just start this year.
2 years ago.
Yeah, so
2 years ago.
Right when Justina Anderson,
right after the Super Bowl.
Right after Justina Anderson news started trickling out, it was funny what guy won the contract. Connect the dots. The other guy already got paid. So what the hell is he mad about? You really think about what else I'm mad about? I'm getting paid top 5 receiver money. What am I mad about? He gets the ball plenty. It's not like you don't get the ball thrown to him when he's on the field.
I think Tommy's on to something here too, because like when you think about it, like it's just kind of weird how the whole thing plays out. He's mad, and I think he kind of used the guise of the philanthropy on the stuff he does outside of it to kind of use him as that to paint himself in this picture of who he is.
And really his versatility has declined. So now, in today's NFL, there's no free safety, strong safety. One guy's a cover guy. You need both guys that do both. So you need to be able to do 2 of 3 things. You need to be able to cover in the deep middle, play split safety, or play down in the box and in the nickel. And he can only do one of those. He can only play down around the line of scrimmage.
There was a comment I wanted to get to that Spills had earlier. Let me try and find it. It was a little further back. It was in regards to the draft. I just had a thing ready for it. I just had to find it. Should be right. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Question: could you look past Mims' drop issues if we could trade back a few picks and grab him? I don't like him, but I don't hate him. Size and speed. With Denzel Mims, he's one of my favorite guys coming out in this draft. It wasn't necessarily hand issues. If you're looking like people that had like a little case of the drops, it's KJ Hamler's had a couple issues with the drops, but if you look at him just like his size, speed, like it's not only size and speed, his route running's good. He has, what do you call it, a catch radius arguably the size of Mars with how long his arms are and just how big he is. If you're looking like just like from like a pure athlete, he's 6'3", probably like 6'4" with if he puts the cleats on. I think he's about like 210, 205. Someone can quote me on that. I'm not sure his exact weight, but like if you look at him as just like a pure athlete and just a guy with like ability, you can make an argument that he's the best athlete in this draft.
I'm not going there. I'm not doing this. You know, he looks the part. We need guys that can fucking catch the football. Okay, I'm not going through this again with Aguilar. You know, he's athletic. He runs for this 4-5 that whatever. I don't give a fuck. These are guys that catch the football. I don't care if you're 5'10". Look at Steve Smith. He was the biggest guy. One of the best top 10 receiver in the history of all time. Guys that can catch the football. I don't want no question marks around that. Can he get around it? You know, can we mold him into this? No. You catch the football from day one. That's it. Done deal.
I love it.
Jefferson's like sort of like, you know, if it's not Judy, that's why I'm sort of getting sold on Jefferson because you catch a football.
He's reliable. Yeah.
111 catches.
I'm not going through this again.
I don't want no more projects. We had enough projects. Please give us a finely tuned, polished wide receiver who can catch, run routes, and burn the brakes off.
Listen, I don't care.
Is that so hard to handle?
Listen, I don't care. You can write a check mark off his 40 time check, route running check, hands. Forget it. That's it.
I want a guy who will succeed no matter who his damn wide receiver coach is.
That's it.
I want a guy that's going to succeed, period. Even if you got the biggest jabron teaching you. I want the guy who's automatically going to succeed because his talent level is that high. That's what I want for once. I'm tired of like I think JJ's going to be an okay player. I still believe in him a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't want that project again. I can't. Like we don't even talk about our second round pick.
Right.
I was like one of our wide receivers. We don't even talk about him. It just happened. You just drafted him. Your other second round pick was impactful. Boom. Boom. But that's different. Running back can be impactful day one a little bit more.
Similar transition, yeah.
Where receivers take a minute. But this is a guy that needs the help of the coaching staff as well as growing himself. I want the opposite. Like Steve said, right? And like Joel said, I want the opposite guy. I want the guy who just walks in. Hey, I believe in myself. I'm a damn good wide receiver, and I run every fucking route right now. That's what I want.
That's it.
I don't care if you're 5'7", like Joel said. I don't care how big you are. You know, there's a lot of smaller guys. The kid from TCU is a smaller guy, but he's like a human goddamn joystick.
Listen,
Jalen Regal, yeah.
The measurables only go
catch the football. That's it.
The measurables only go so far. Only go so far. I want the guy that gives me that extra.
That's it. So when you throw it to him, when a big player's on the line and you throw him the football, you feel confident.
Yeah, and like to me, this is why I can't believe I'm doing this. If it's not Judy, it's Jefferson. Because I'm watching a guy who got jewelry, right? Who got a ring. So it was played at the highest level in the biggest games, and in the biggest game, he had a monster game. A monster game on the biggest stage. I'll take that dude. Because I just don't feel like he's a guy you're getting fooled by.
No.
When you catch the ball that much, I mean, to me, he's closing in on him and Judy for me. I'd rather have Judy still,
right?
But as a consolation prize, I'd walk out of here with Jefferson and call it a day.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
111 catches. I mean,
well, that just tells you consistency right there. That's what it is. That's consistency. And Levi even says he's a plug and play guy. I completely agree.
I mean, Jake, you watched a ton of them for being an LSU cat. You know, I'm an SEC junkie. I know Jules is an SEC junkie, and I'm assuming Steve's right there with us. So we watch a ton of SEC football. You know, I looked at a guy that I thought had tons of speed, in-game speed. I didn't. We talked about it earlier. I didn't see the guy who couldn't get over top, the guy who couldn't catch and make a guy miss. I didn't see that. So if somebody saw something different, where it's almost like a Zach Ertz, where it's just, hey, catch and go down. I didn't see that. I saw a playmaker with the ball in his hands.
Oh, there goes Steve. But
I didn't see the Baylor guy come close to Mims this year, and that team was great for being limited.
Mm-hmm. Trying to think of what team he's talking about. But let's see.
Do you think Jefferson? I don't think Jefferson even plays the slot though. You know,
I mean, he like that's where he made his bread and butter at LSU. But like you can put him outside, like you can put him out there for plays, but predominantly he is a slot guy. But again, what people make an argument about, you saw at the combine, people had questions about his speed and whatever. He ran a 4.4, but at the college level, he had production on the outside. And that my only issue with people that kind of just jerk off people that run the 40 time is just game speed is completely different than when you run the 40. It's completely different. Game speed, you have adrenaline going, you have momentum. It's a completely different animal than just running in a straight line.
Oh, absolutely. I think Bill had a question about our secondary earlier on, and I missed it. He might have asked if they were top 5.
Not right now.
I seen. I seen one question. Something that was about: would you rather have Jenkins and Damaris Randall?
Yeah, over I think Maddox at safety. I saw that one.
I'm really excited about Jalen at safety. I mean, that's what I'm really excited about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that could be like the Malcolm replacement very quickly too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately, and I think he's going to have more ball skills
Mm-hmm.
than Malcolm did.
Yeah.
So,
way more, and he'll be way better in coverage than what Malcolm was.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you're going to see more of McLeod play down in the jungle a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
banging around, and have Mills playing single high up top because that's what Schwartz likes to do. You know,
Play single high. Yep.
single high with off man on the outside. But we didn't have those corners that can play off man on the outside. You know, they would get burnt by double moves, crossing routes. But McLeod's problem was he was never in the middle of the field, you know, to make plays.
Mm-hmm.
How many times have you seen guys get beat on a post, you know, deep downfield and
right.
McLeod's nowhere to be found. You know, he kind of gets sucked down inside in the middle. That's where he makes plays down in front of him, playing downhill. So I think he would have a way better year this year, McLeod playing down, and Mills will have a great year. If it works out, I think it will, because he can tackle space, he can cover. You know, a 4.5 isn't slow for a safety. It's slow for a corner. It's not slow for a safety. So I think it'll be a huge upgrade.
I completely agree. We talked about that before, Jules, and you brought it up that, you know, Rodney's thing is more coverage, and when you're going single high and you're leaving them out on an island, that's why you got guys running free and nobody covering them. Mm-hmm. So I think putting Jalen back there just gives you another corner playing over top.
Yeah. And that was my only issue with not being a McLeod guy, because I don't think he was in the best position for him to succeed. He was asked to do a lot in coverage, and he's not really that coverage guy. You know, he's not that Earl Thomas type, you know, that can go side on side and make plays, make reads on the ball. He's more of a I don't want to label him as a box safety like these other guys do, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we're gonna see.
Yeah,
that's my only issue with McLeod.
Yeah. Well, I think the big addition to our secondary, that's not even a player. It's our new defensive backs coach,
right?
Who's shown he can coach, and he's dealt with players that have. I mean, he took obviously it wasn't just him, but like he took a defense to the Super Bowl. I mean, obviously
the Falcons, right? Came from Atlanta.
Yeah, he took the Falcons to the Super Bowl. They played they were a great defense for a couple of years. Their second, Desmond Trufant, was a great player under him. So I can only imagine how well they're going to do.
And that's why this, I think this benefits Timmy Jones as well, because you get a new coach in there, a new style, new techniques. I mean, hopefully this guy teaches our corners to turn around for the ball and make plays and not have our back to the ball.
Mm-hmm.
You know? When you're running downfield, turn around, look up. Maybe you'll catch a pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, new voices can be good.
Mm-hmm.
Can absolutely be good.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you guys have anything else before we wrap up? Because I basically said all I need to say.
No, just one more report, and you'll see it on HUD. Donald Trump told commissioners he believes the NFL season should start on time. So take that for a grain of salt.
Keyword believes. Believes. But
the Bills were close to a top 5. Close.
I think so. But we'll see. So, Steve, you got anything else before we wrap up?
The Bills have the best young corner in the game.
No, I mean, internet sucks to deal with this nonsense.
Yeah.
I mean, nah, man, just hopefully we can get to the end of this thing. As far as this virus goes, getting back to some semblance of normal life.
Hmm.
As far as this draft goes, I'm sure the Eagles are going to give us plenty of curveballs between now and draft day.
Hmm.
Honestly, the way it's looking, for my opinion, I still think it's either stay pat or trade back, and with what's looking, I think they should get out of there.
Yeah.
Regardless of who it is.
Mhm.
I know that that they like doing that thing of collected picks and everything like that. Let's see how it plays out. But
Mhm.
I don't think it's wide receiver. I think it's another type of move to kind of fill positions, and hopefully we can get a playmaker that just gets plugged in and get right on the field.
Mhm.
Regardless if we're talking about defensive end, wide receiver, running back, linebacker, whoever it is, it should be a player that's going to make a difference for this team this season and help us win a division, playoff run, Super Bowl, etc.
Mhm. Yeah, I completely agree. But all that being said, all right, guys, that was this week's episode of the Weekly Roundup. We appreciate you stopping by just to kind of help you get away from all the craziness that's going on in the world right now. Hope you had a good time. I know I had a good time. As always, we are brought to you by our doc, Making Mirrors, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC, Burlington, Cherry Hill, Princeton locations. Find them on the web at specializedphysicaltherapy.com. We are also brought to you by Ambuck Services, AMBUCK services.com. Call Michael Ambrose, tell him A2D sent you, get yourself 20% off gutters, anything you need done outside your house. Go to ambuckservices.com. As always, Jake Friel, Steve Reichel, wrong way. Steve Reichel, Tom Arnone, and Nick.
And Nick.
And Nick.
And
And Nick.
well, at least it seemed like it got a little bit better as we went on here. But that was interesting to start off the show. We were all disappearing on each other, but we got through it.
Rotating around. We're rotating around.
We did it. We did it. Ton of fun. We'll be on tomorrow afternoon with the boys, probably around like 1, 2. And I know the wrestling guys want to do a little recap tomorrow. Andy was talking about it.
Mhm.
So maybe expect them tomorrow afternoon as well. So shows are continuing to roll, fam.
Mhm.
And then me and Jules will see you Wednesday. And then Jake, we'll see the fam Tuesday. And
Tuesday, Friday, yep.
And Steve, feel free, jump in any of
Hey,
those.
listen, I'm around, man. Let me guys know. Let me know. I get it happen, and we can have some fun, guys.
We're here, brother. We're here.
All right, man.
This is our outlet too.
Yeah, I know. And like I said, man, as we continue along this month, I was already talking to Tommy. I want to work on some giveaways for our loyal listeners and fans who are actually here with us through this nonsense.
Mhm.
I'm serious.
That's a great idea.
Absolutely, brother. That's what we're trying to do. Give back if we can to people, and then we're gonna, we obviously have our spring line out of merch right now for anybody still working and no bill issues. Feel free, jump in. Spring merch is out, and then we're gonna work on some show merch as well for individual shows. So talking to Alex today at Philly Drinkers, so we're gonna work on that just to give a little bit more stuff out there for the people. And we'll do some giveaways on our. We're gonna do some giveaways on our Twitter. So what you gotta do is you're gonna have to follow, and do all that retweets, and we'll do some giveaways there.
Yeah. Just coordinate with me, brother. I'll help blow it up.
We'll be here. We'll talk. Jake,
all right,
take
man.
us out, babe.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys next week
Hey,
on
guys.
another edition of the Weekly Roundup. As always, check us out. If you can't catch us live, we're on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, all the other platforms. We're live on Twitch. We're everywhere. So follow us on all your personal podcast platforms. Helps us out. Also gives you something to do as well. And we'll catch you guys back on another episode of the Weekly Roundup. Later, guys.
All right, everyone. Have a good one.
All right, guys.
Later, bye.
Later.